Well, good. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Flight Deck 2 Sim live stream. Today, what is it, the 3rd of May, bank holiday weekend in the UK, time for, I thought another live stream this evening, nothing planned, so I thought we'd do a short little hop from Stansted to Edinburgh in the latest pre-release version of the mod. We are currently flying today 3.34 RC 2.6. ZIBO's done a quick couple of fixes today, fine-tuning VNAV and level change for the stream. So I thought it'd be a great time to catch you all. I'm currently on my month off at work. I've just been, haven't flown now for 4 days. I've just had a really chilled out last few days. And it's going to give me a plenty more opportunity to stream in the next 4 weeks or so. Hopefully at least one a week, if not more. I see all the usual members from Discord here. Was Steve Mayer, Paul Emerson, Sabata Mesvar, Temesvari, Spike at his bike saying evening box, Tim Fraser saying let's sit back and relax as well. Also like to say thanks right at the start to David Smith, who pointed out that I had actually made a spelling mistake in my thumbnail for this video, which I promptly changed. And there was about a 3-minute delay to start the stream, so I basically fired up the sim, got the aircraft ready, loaded onto that sim, and there were about 2 aircraft on my stand, so I had to reload the sim, make sure I was on a stand that was vacant. So we're currently on stand 45 left in Stansted. So the flight today will be Stansted Edinburgh. It's about 55 minutes or so, just the one flight today, live on that sim, because I saw there was going to be ATC coverage at least in Stansted and around the London control zone, so we should have some initially on the way out there. Weather at the moment in Stansted is a typical British weekend weather. It's a bit dull, a few rain showers around. We've got 10 kilometres of visibility as a northeasterly winds, the runway 04, low cloud base around 700 feet. And in Edinburgh, there's a few CB clouds around, a bit of cumulonimbus, 7 degrees there, and a QNH of 1017. So without further ado, as I always will I'll try to answer any questions during the chat as we do get on. As I said, we are in Stansted, stand 45 left, live on VATSIM. If I go into the external view, you can see here, I don't know if people are basically just... I came onto VATSIM about 10 minutes ago, and there was about 2 aircraft, and I've just logged in now, and there's about 15 aircraft, so I don't know if people are doing the same flight. We've got a few private messages coming in, ding dong. There's an exam coming on Bremen Tower, especially after our traffic, so try to get traffic there. Private message from Tom Knudsen, who I know from there. Have to watch your stream later, have a nice flight. Well, that's pretty cool. So, we'll jump into the ZIBO mod, and we'll do the full setup as per usual from cold and dark. I've not touched anything, just basically loaded the mod and got the charts up. So, you know, if you're new to the mod, you can see exactly how I set it up, exactly as we would do in reality as well. Ground services, that's what we want, GPU connect. There we go, batteries on. And put that to steady. We'll pop on the electric hydraulic pumps as well. Now we can do all the emergency fire test, checking the emergency equipment as well. I've got 2 members coming in straight off the block here. Crikey, thank you very much, guys. I've got Brian Kruger, Philip Bolski, and David Blankard coming with their membership. So, yeah, you'll hopefully, if you sync your Discord to YouTube, you should get a direct invite pretty much straight away, so we can catch up with you guys later on the members-only Discord. Thank you very much for the direct support and membership. So there's a fire and fault test, then the extinguisher bottle, back onto the upper overhead panel. Emergency exit lights on. We'll put the faster belts on, as I've said before. We only put that on once the refueling is complete. We'll imagine it is done, but we'll put the fuel in the mod in a second. Igniters to right. We'll come to the MCP later. We make sure the flap indication position matches the flap handle. Moving on our way down here, cargo fire test. Making sure the lights illuminate both sides and the bell sounds, which it does. Also making our way down here as well. I've got a donation for James, 30 quid. Jesus Christ, thank you so much, buddy. Are there any plans for a stream that runs through your whole flight planning process? Thank you for the amazing streams. Well, I can do that. I mean, my flight planning process is probably what most of you guys do. You basically go onto SimBrief. I use that format there to basically program the flight, and the Lido brief system which SimBrief uses is absolutely identical to the real-world operational flight plans we use. And I just simply put the departure arrival, and I had a look at a similar flight plan on this route, and it was pretty much exactly the same block fuel. But yeah, we can go into a bit more detail, James, at a later date. But that's a very generous tip. I never ask for any of this stuff, but it does help me a little bit. Thank you very much, buddy. So panel lights on. We've done the cargo fire test, and you'd usually have each pilot individually fiddle with their MCP panel, but we'll set that their pedestal, but we'll set the VHF panel like this, so we just use VHF 1. In the sim for VATSIM, check the circuit breakers, spare bulbs we don't bother checking, usually emergency escape routes. So I've got another member coming in, I've probably missed a couple others. We've got Pure, Chrissy, and I already spotted Dave Blackwell. So again, thank you very much for the membership and direct support there. Very nice. Cool. Stall warning tests, and we do this max airspeed warning test. Now, I've mentioned this to ZIBO a few times. It just doesn't sound after you've started the aircraft. It should sound straight away pretty much, but it's not working there for some reason. We select VHF 1 on the Stammer radio. IRS is to nav, and that's going to take us... I don't actually routinely check how many minutes it takes on the line, but it's also always cool to see. Oh, there we go, 8 minutes. At this latitude, and emergency escape road, check the circuit breakers that side, we're all in there, very good. Awesome. I've got Wing Chun Wayne coming over, £2 donation, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Captain, love the streams. Well, thank you very much for the tip and donation, got your shout out there, thank you very much for the support too. Philip Golski, is it right that 121.5 is almost only used for BA pilots talking with each other? Does Nigel exclusively use that? No, 121.5 is an emergency frequency exclusively used for that. You often get the odd immature prat who makes some noise on the radio, and it's usually someone that speaks up, and you say that you're on guard, the on guard frequency, so you get all these immature people making, well, all sorts of noises really, and you tell them when you're on guard. It's usually Nigel from British Airways that likes to tell people that they're on guard. Anyway, that's the safety inspection checklist complete. Up to the EFIS panel, terrain, airport, QNH in Stansted is 1014, which is now set. The minimum flat retraction altitude here, it's 1,000 feet above elevation, so we'll set that here at 1350. So we hold down the mouse button. Again, this is the height at which we'd accelerate in the event of an engine failure prior to this height. Oops, 1350. I got a private message from someone on VATSIM asking... Just set the MFRA here. Hey Captain, have you experienced any crashes with ZIBO 3.3 RC2? Not yet. Some people have reported issues with the latest version. We're using 2.6, which is, I don't think, quite out yet. I think ZIBO said he will release it, and we'll see what happens. I haven't had a crash yet in the ZIBO mod, so touch wood that doesn't happen again today. Terrain, airport, I've selected. Clock, normal. We now turn all the lights up here. Background, AFDS as well. Cool, and we're pretty much straight into the FMC to load the flight plan. So, I can never remember, is it airport? No, airport's that. It's charts, which has the OFP in it. So here's the operational flight plan from SimBrief. I generated it about a couple of hours ago. We need 5.3 tons minimum. Now, because there's some CBs in Edinburgh, if I was to do this flight in reality, I'd take a little bit of extra fuel, about an extra 20 minutes or so, which is about 800 kilos in the 737-800. So if you add 800 kilos to this, 5.3 plus 8 is going to be 6.1. So I'm going to go straight here to fuel and put 6.1 tons. And that's precisely what I'd take today if I was doing this sector here. Our zero fuel weight, I did make a note of this, it's 59.7 tons. So we need to put in 18.3 for the payload. There we go, 59.7. That's based on 172 passengers. Quite a full flight there. Robin Lambert, are you flying the return as well? Not this evening, I'm afraid. Just there and back. But I am planning to do some two-sector streams on my month off. Hopefully in the 200 as well. We've got the FlyJ Sim 200, which I need to test fly and have a go about that. Daniel Kerr, I do understand you're a Boeing pilot. However, have you tried out an Airbus Sim? Yes, I have tried out an Airbus simulator. It is a very different beast to the 737. It's a remarkable aeroplane. Very automated, but for me, we like stick and rudder, which is what the Boeing offers you. Excellent, so there's the flight plan. We put the fuel on board and the weight, so the aircraft is kind of representing 172 passengers and the amount of fuel we want. And here is the routing. So there it is. I'm actually going to use the one I printed right in front of me. So with the FMC, you always want to start off on the ident page, work your way through it. We've got the latest AirAC as well from Navigraph, which represents what the real aircraft has installed right now as well. We're in Stansted, which is Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. GPS left coordinates for the IRS, and then we're going to Edinburgh, which is Echo Golf Papa Hotel. Of course, the infamous broadsword 01 call sign will be used today. and on VATSIM. We're departing from runway 04 with that northeasterly wind. The departure is going to be in Utava 1 Sierra. And now we can put in routing, which isn't too much to type in. It's Quebec 75 Buzzard, and it sounds like it's just about started to rain as well in X-Plane 11. We do like a little bit of rain because the effects that ZIBO has with this ski effects, or whatever they're called, this chap that made them, are really, really good. Doesn't make it look very immersive. Up November 57, have I typed that in right? No, I haven't. Tango 420 to Trent, VOR, that's it. There we go. Upper November 57 to then the Pole Hill VOR, which is Pole, and then it's Upper November 601, and it's then to Eskdo, which is the beginning of the arrival into Edinburgh. Perfect. So departure arrivals. It's going to be ILS 06 and a Tweed 3 Alpha. There we go. We won't use any of the transitions, they're not applicable today. We can activate that execute as well. Let's see if there's any discontinuities. No, it looks like it is all connected. Same B, do you use reshade? I don't even know what that means. This is default X-Plane. I think it's something that changes the textures, isn't it? No, I haven't got any reshade or any texture changes here. Captain Jacob, good evening from Denmark. Good evening to you as well, sir. Stuart Walsh, FMC looks a bit different. Yeah, I think it could be the lighting. It does look a bit different. So I thought it was used to be a bit darker, but maybe it's because of the lighting. I've no idea. Omar Grand, real life ATC here in Ibiza. Good to see how the 737 operates. Well, thank you very much. I've flown to Ibiza many a time. I've probably even spoken to you and you didn't even realise. Excellent. So let's do the performance now. So, 0 fuel weight, we've already selected in the mod, so 59.7 tonnes. Reserves, so we're going to be 2.2 tonnes. That's to get us to our alternate of Glasgow and land with 30 minutes of fuel left. Our cost index today is going to be 30. Cruising at flight level 360. Cruise wind, straight off the operational flight plan, is, what is that there? 319 at 85. So quite a strong jet, well, probably not a jet stream, but quite a strong northwesterly wind there. Bit of a headwind on the initial climb out to Edinburgh, and the temperature IC deviation is 1 degree. Excellent. Now, I suppose, as we're on VATSIM, I should actually get the ATIS, so when we get the clearance, we can actually give them the correct information. So that's 12717. 12717. Let's put it on box 2, see if that works.
Visibility 10 kilometers.
Perfect. So instead of listening to all that, I'm just going to listen to that, what it says there. So 7 degrees, 1014 Alpha. Just want to get the wind actually, because I can't see that there. Just get the wind off the that's it. Off the 80s. Good, so 01011 knots, so that's not too bad at all really. So the important information, 7 degrees and QNH of 1014, which I've already set. So back into the FMC. 7 degrees. Now, performance, sometimes I've shown you a screenshot of the OPT. Now, I've already done the performance. It's based off runway 04 and from the Lima intersection departure as well. And we need 22k. Just check the donation in a second. And an assumed temperature of 38 degrees. I just want to check in the real OPT app what's that going to give us as an N1? We'll see how good the mod is. So off. I'm just calculating here based on the takeoff weight of 64.7. It should be 87.6. Oops. Why is that so far off then? I've sometimes noticed with certain assumed... Oh no, 41 degrees. That's why I've got the wrong assumed temperature. 87.6. So sometimes it can be a bit off. I don't know why, but we'll use this one here from what the OPT says. Flap 5, V speeds will set for takeoff, and CG 4.8. We'll just use that for the mod there, and we'll set V2 here too. Excellent. Now let's see who tip and donated. It's Orange, which I know someone's donated stupid money. Chris Simpson, 20 quid. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. Brilliant stream. First time catching it live. I'm a trainee pilot in progress. Your channel is great inspiration for us aspiring pilots. All the best, Chris. Well, Chris, that's extremely generous. That will go towards a pint. Well, I'm not going out after tonight. We were meant to be. But I will get a pint tomorrow, my friends, and I'll toast it to you. Thank you very much, my friend. Very, very generous indeed. So Simon Sandston, what does the QH on-off thing actually do on the takeoff reference page? So usually, usually it's the predictive speed. So if you turn this off, you don't get the predictive speeds from the FMC. If you don't want them, you can get them from a table, but we always use the FMC predicted speed. So they have to match the onboard performance to performance app by at least a knot. So that's all selected there. So the FMC is pretty much all loaded. Go take off legs there. We can now go on to the upper overhead panel. So yaw damper on. We've only got fuel in the main tank pumps. Crossfeed open and then close. Just checking the valve operation. Cabin utility IFE galley power switches are all on. They're all set. Seatbelt signs on. We've already done the refueling. Window heat can come on now as well. Right igniters. Trim air on, which I often forget. You guys like to shout out. One of the guys at Discord pointed that out. Don't forget the trim air because you will have people shouting at you. Pax auto open. Cruising at 360. I think the elevation in Edinburgh is 150. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Right, on to the MCP. So flight directors on master's captain's side. The runway heading is... well, actually, I better just get all the charts out. Airport, there we go. So the runway QDM for 04043. So we'll punch that into the heading bug. And we're flying an Utava 1 Sierra departure. So regarding all that, we want 280, which is the inbound course to Barkway, which we'll put on my side, the captain's side. Again, this is just for raw data backup, which we always set up in reality here. And then the next radial is going to be 263 to Utava, so we can pop that in the FO's course window. Perfect. Now, if you see here on the chart, the initial turn is actually based off the DME off the ILS, so we need to tune ISED, which is 110.5. That way we know when we're at 2 DME we can make the left turn. So we'll put that active both sides. And then once we're at 2 miles inbound to Barkway, we'll just tune the Barkway VOR, which is 116.25. There we go. That's looking good, and I think the initial stop altitude for this SID is 5,000. Yeah, do not climb until above 5,000 feet. So again, we set this to 5,100 to remind us that we've not been cleared. I haven't received our clearance yet, so we'll set that there. That's pretty much it for the MCP. Auto brake to RTO, reset the fuel flow, set the standby. QH on there, 1014. We do a config test to make sure the takeoff config warning horn sounds, which it does, and we've already done the radio tuning panel, and that is now all set. Excellent. Ralph XIV, where are you based in real life? Well, I'll go as far as to say I'm based in the UK, but I won't go into any more detail than that. Den Chop Skumad, what is trim air? Trim air, basically. Hot air comes from the engine as bleed air. It needs to be cooled by the air conditioning packs, and then it's divided into something called a mixed manifold and sent into 3 different zones, the cod, forward and aft. And basically the mixed manifold is a fixed temperature. Trim air is warm air, which is used to control the temperature in each zone, in a nutshell, but you'll find more information about that online. Alan Davis, £4.99, thank you very much. You've tipped plenty of times before, very generous. Looking forward to another great stream. How you found turbulence in active sky at cruise? I really experienced any, even with settings max. Yeah, I have had some turbulence, but it's usually associated with CB activity. But we'll see how we get on there, but I haven't had anything too bad there. Cool. Right, so what have I done there? Yes, that's all set. We now need to get the clearance from Essex, or sorry, Stansted clearance delivery. If he's online, we've got Tower, we've got X Tower. I'm not sure what that is, so I'll try Tower for the clearance, which is 123.8. There we go. Perfect. There might be a clearance frequency which I'm not even aware of. Oh, I can hear voices. That's a good sign. Perfect. There's definitely not a ground frequency, was there? Yeah, this guy's asking for push and start, so hopefully we'll get the clearance here in a second. Nicholas 1679, joined to see if there's implemented curves on the ND route line. If you look here, you'll be able to see a beautiful curved line for the SID. I think ZIBO's pretty much finished now, so you have all the lovely curved lines correctly depicted on the ND.
Golf, correction right there for Yankee Tangos, and 1-4, push and start.
Right, see if I can get in here. Oh, it's busy. So there's two people trying to talk. Now this is why, you know, in an airport like Stansted, you have multiple frequencies, ground tower clearance, and when it's busy, you know, it's very difficult sometimes in real life to also get in there on the frequency.
Gate 1 to Boeing 737, next 1014, Alpha requesting clearance to Bremen.
Extra-enter, is there a VATSIM event going on at the moment? The amount of flights in Europe is crazy. Well, I think it's just the weekend, Friday evening, everyone's finished work, and they just want to basically go on VATSIM. Alan Davis, after tipping all the time, you now become a member. Thank you very much for the dedicated support, buddy. Catch you later on Discord. So we just got to try and find a gap to get the clearance. So these rain effects are really awesome.
Departure, 3415.
Perfect.
Cleared clearance,
So whilst they're busy chatting, I'll show you where we're parked. So right in this corner here, 45 left. It's kind of adjacent to the Juliet taxiway. Hopefully we'll push back onto Juliet and taxi all the way down for runway 04, and then we've done the performance from Lima, so we can't take off from Lima intersection there. Might try and get here.
Stansted Tower, Speedbird 1343, stand 23, ready for push and start.
What's Speedbird doing in Stansted?
Hey,
actually, I think they do flights from here.
Hold position, there's traffic behind. Roger, position, Speedbird 1343.
Stansted Tower, good evening. Broadsword 01, stand 45 left, information Alpha, QNH 1014, departure clearance to Edinburgh, please. See if we can hit us, get us away.
Last station, calling standby.
Oh, he's busy. I hope he remembers us. James Donlin, any new plans on flying the 737 Classic? I want to do one more stream in the mod, maybe on Sunday if I can get some time, and then next week we'll jump into the Fly J7200.
Standby break, Golf Alpha Yankee, report final 004, correction.
Nicholas 0102, where did you go on your last real flight? I went to Hamburg in Germany.
Okay, send the downwind. Go Pushback, Yankee.
Well, he told me to stand by.
Lima, whiskey, runway 04.
So I will, but if I'll give him a couple minutes, but I might try again. Green Wizard, I'm afraid I won't be able to stay until the end. I'm with my girlfriend in a hotel celebrating our 3rd anniversary. God, you'll get in trouble. I'd be in trouble if I was watching a live stream on an anniversary night. Jesus, you're brave, man. Carl's angry. Unbelievable. Every time. $25 tip and donation. Thank you so much. Thanks again for the absolute best flight training on YouTube. You're most welcome, Carl. Thank you again. Your generosity is second to none. Really kind. Thank you. So what they need is a few more people on at Stansted. This guy's having to do everything. Taxis, clearances.
India, Alpha, Sierra, Lima, Stansted.
Crikey.
Golf Sierra Lima, clear to transit the central control zone over the runway 04 threshold, time above altitude 1,000.
So just Stansted Tower, Stansted 80s. No clearance.
Clear transit the 04 threshold.
Aaron White, oh man, I get absolutely buried watching a live stream. Yeah, certain nights you don't get away with anything, is there?
Golf India Alpha Sierra Lima, correct report overhead the threshold.
Brutal. Oh, he did tell us to stand by. So stand by, if ATC tells you to stand by, you usually don't say anything, you know, you keep your mouth shut and then they eventually get back to you.
9 person start approved.
Push start approved, Skyways 149.
I think we've done everything we can do, really.
Oh, right.
So clearance, we've checked the routing, the SID you've seen the taxi we need to do. The flight, I'll show you where we're going actually geographically whilst we're waiting here. Avitab, and we want
Golf India Alpha Sierra Lima, traffic information is Cessna 172 on the right hand downwind just south
Cessna? Right hand downwind, what's he doing in Stansted? Unbelievable. So there's the departure, takes us westbound and then we're going northwest over the Midlands, basically following the M6 all the way to Carlisle and then onwards to Edinburgh. It should take about 55 minutes or so.
Traffic information.
Oh, it's busy. Another thing I wanted to show you actually, guys, whilst I'm here. You see here on the OFP, it says, oh Christ, who was this coming in here? We've got the James O'Donoghue coming in with a membership. Thank you very much for the direct support and dedication there. Very generous.
Is a light aircraft just overhead the threshold 04 heading southbound.
Why has he got light aircraft going over the threshold of 04? If you did that in Stansted around, it'd be pandemonium. Yes. See, it says shear here. This is the amount of turbulence, and if you see a shear of over 3 or 4, you can expect at least light to moderate turbulence. So we've got shears of 8 here, so you'd actually be like, you'd be kind of preparing some turbulence in that factor. It's quite a rough system how it calculates it. It's based off wind direction changes and jet stream and temperature changes and shear. So you'd expect with 8s like that some kind of moderate-ish turbulence on routes.
KLM 1609 taxi holding point Hotel 1 via link Russian via Bravo Juliet.
It sounds like real life tower stuff. Always like, yes, probably B9 bot.
Holding point Hotel 1 via Bravo Juliet and Hotel.
Harry Marsh, currently doing my ATPL revision, but this is a perfect reason to stop. Well, you may concentrate on your studies, don't replace them with me. Excellent, but you'll be able to put some of your knowledge to practice in a desktop simulator, that's for sure.
Right there, 152 Yankee, stand 42, cushion start approved.
Silky Mucky, hey, I really like these streams, just want to know how much I appreciate them. Well, excellent, thank you very much.
Golf Sierra Lima, thank you. Contact S6120.625.
Let's have a little snoot around outside. So, aircraft taxiing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Touch and go.
Touch and go? Oh, they've got someone doing touch and goes in Stansted. Brutal. Right, I might have to just nudge this guy again.
Stansted Tower Run, Mayor 3632, Gate 12, request push and start.
3632 standby. Break. Air France 001.
GK's my first cross country from Biggin took me through the corridor between Luton and Stansted and Marshall, whether they were nervous. Oh, well, yeah, I think there's a corridor around those airports you can take for VFR traffic. I remember doing the Stansted corridor 10 years ago, and I was pretty nervous.
0010, taxi straight ahead, hold short, taxiway Alpha. Correction, hold short, taxiway Juliet.
Is there a way of getting the clearance by text? Like, could I type it? But I can see someone's requested clearance already. Look, and he hasn't put anything there.
No, Air France 0010, hold position.
Oh, it's quiet. I really want to ask you for clearance. Stansted Tower, hello, broadsword 01, 45 left, information Alpha 1014, clearance to Edinburgh whenever you're ready, thank you. After this, I'm not sure what else to do. Oh, I hope he hasn't.
Last station, calling again.
Stansted Tower, hello, it's broadsword 01, stand 45 left, information Alpha 1014, departure clearance to Edinburgh, please. And a request push and start as well, I think. Get the APU running, because he's going to be busy. Oh, uh-oh, stand it by, oh no. So we'll get the APU running anyway.
010, I told you the whole position you're taxiing.
30, 20.
Daniel Scott says, contact via text for push and departure clearance. Dot Wallop, if he's accepted VFR traffic, he can only blame himself, absolutely. If he's busy dealing with Cessna in the circuit.
1429, Centre Tower.
Oh dear, so APU's running.
Go ahead, Sky was 149
Skywards 149, you clear off that aircraft off to your left, he's taxi towards you.
Roger, we had an issue in the pushback. We are just performing a straight ahead pushback and nothing now.
What's he doing here, really?
Skywards 149.
But I don't think it's the issue. I think there's quite a few, or someone's having an issue with the pushback, so he's obviously crashed. Oh, we'll get away soon, guys. I must only apologise for inconvenience. I'd have to do a PA to the passengers to explain. Due to ATC workload, we're having to delay our departure. We were due off blocks actually 10 minutes ago.
Following 800. Request IFR clearance to Pushback Airport as filed with information Alpha. Flight line might say VFR, but it should be IFR.
Perfect. So, yeah.
Calling Roger, standby.
So how do I talk to Tower? Do I say at Stansted? Oh, I can't remember now. Do I put So on
Ryanair
to...
4 Yankee.
How do I talk to him? Is it
Tango,
Echo Golf Sierra
Runway
Sierra
04
Tower
London.
and then the message or the request?
Tango.
Zero Game C is real life HC sound
Yeah,
quality
Ryanair
better
4
than
Yankee
that's
Tango, Runway 04
absolutely
London, wait.
considerably better. Dot Wallop, of course, he's having an exam, so he has to accept VFR traffic. Poor guy having this much traffic on his exam. Oh dear. James Dollar, this may hurt flight deck to Sim's on-time arrival record. Yeah, we'll have less and less passengers in each sector, that's for sure. Oh, I've accidentally put Broadsword 01. He's very quiet in between, so I don't know what he's doing. It makes me think that he's absolutely saturated dealing with it. So when I'm quiet, it makes me feel like I should say something. But
Yankee turning downwind for touching bay.
Golf Alpha Yankee, Roger, continue
I'm
on.
going to type in here. Broadsword 01.
Standby. Ryanair 4 Yankee Tango.
45
Traffic
left.
information is a light aircraft on the
Request.
right hand downwind.
Departure clearance
Runway 04 cleared for takeoff.
to
Echo
Echo Golf Papa Hotel.
We have traffic in place.
I hope you got that message.
Okay,
The 737 flight decker, in your opinion, what's better, the 777 or the A350? Now, I'm not one to choose better. I mean, I'd have to support the Boeing because I'm a Boeing driver, and I think they're personally, for me, a better aircraft. Excuse me, because I'm burping on the microphone. But I think the Airbus is a remarkable machine nonetheless. Very, from a workload point of view, it's a lot more automated.
Juliet Hotel.
Dan Scott, port controller needs more controls on LOL. Absolutely.
Taxi to Holly Point, Kilo 1 via Alpha,
Get rid
Juliet,
of the GPU at least.
Hotel, and Kilo.
We'll get the
if
pushback,
possible, Hotel 1,
to
for
connect
cabin
as well.
composite and a heavy, please.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me.
Hopefully it'll be something like this. So we'll get the pushback here at least. Once we eventually get going.
Roger, Alpha, Juliet, and
There we go. Hopefully in that direction.
the hotel, and then Hotel 1.
So it's not me just
Alpha
requesting
Yankee
clearance. Look, they've
and,
got myself
left
as a
hand
Ryanair
over
4040, 9 Kilo November,
Left hand
404,
over
all
the
requesting clearance. Look. Oh no.
Ryanair 4 Yankee Tango. Contact London on 127.
This poor guy.
Bye-bye.
B9 Bot, what's your opinion about the MAX issues and how Boeing handled it? Well, I'm not going to say publicly what I think exactly, but there's obviously been issues with the MAX, which are hopefully going to rectify and make it the one of the safest aircraft in the world, which I'm very confident they will do. They do build very good, safe aircraft, but there was obviously a fundamental issue with this MCAS system, so hopefully they'll fix it.
Ready for taxi.
Rick or M, can you show the gentle viewers where the snap cutout switches are? They're just here. So these are allegedly the switches which we move in the event of a runaway stabiliser as well to cut out, which should stop any stabiliser trim, but apparently with the Ethiopian Airlines they moved this to cut out and the trim still trim nose down, so I don't know. I don't know if there was anything more they could do.
Taxi.
We can only speculate. We weren't there. You should never say anything against the crew unless there were clear errors, but I think they did everything they possibly
Sorry,
could.
Alpha Juliet Hotel.
Paul Emerson, they're showing 17 departures on fantastic. Wonderful. Well, I've requested it twice on the radio. I've requested it on text box. So I'm not sure what else I could really do. Oh God, don't release the parking brake, otherwise we're going to end up on the taxiway, and that will make him very cross.
Ryanair 152 Yankees at you corner.
Abbas, we need a ticket refund for this delay. Flight Sim Airlines doesn't offer refunds. It's a buy-only ticket option. No refunds available. You get what you pay for as well. Perfect. Nick Ray, does TCAS work on this aircraft? Yes, and I think ZIBO's made some changes to it, so it's a little bit more accurate of how it depicts traffic. So it'll be interesting to see actually if we do get it airborne, how we can how it does show traffic on other on the ND.
Alright, thank you. Give it up. Cheers, bye.
Someone's given up. Oh my God.
Golf Foxtrot Echo Alpha Yankee, report final runway 04, number 1.
Edinburgh, poor guy turns up with his
send
big
your
fat
downwind
Simtar
left
exam,
runway
expecting
to about,
does some movements
2 or
and
3
flight
miles.
decks and rolls in with 15 other aircraft, probably.
Roger, extend the downwind left
I don't
for
know.
2 miles and then report final runway 04, go then.
Yeah, after it even, it's Maliki ready. This is the longest wait for a clearance I've ever seen. I don't think I had to wait this long. I have actually sometimes really had to wait a long time. I remember in Barcelona once, there were about 20 aircraft trying to get the clearance at once, and the guy was getting absolutely overworked. He just said, like, everyone stand by, I'll get back to you one by one.
Request push and start.
Golf Bravo, Victor Bravo, Golf contact FX120.625, bye-bye.
Right. Look at this, people are just going crazy on the chat as well.
Golf Bravo, Victor Bravo, Golf FD at FX120.625, bye-bye.
I'll try and get in again and get the whole lot done, guys. Clearance, pushback, the whole lot.
Right in there, 3632, stand 1, 2,
You can actually get pushback clearance prior to getting your clearance. You don't need to be on stand engines off, so you can actually push back. You can even be at the holding point and get your departure clearance, so you don't have to do it in that order. Stansted Tower, good evening. Broadsword 01, stand 45 left. Request departure clearance to Edinburgh and request push and start. Get the whole lot done.
Just confirm your call sign. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, it's Broadsword 01. It's from 2XL Airways. We're on stand 45 left. Information Alpha QNH 1014. Departure clearance to Edinburgh and push and start, please.
Okay, that 1609 on 04 clear takeoff.
He's poor guy. I think he's doing very well if he's on his own, especially if he's on an exam.
Broadsword 001, cleared Edinburgh, you can't about 1 Sierra, departure on 04, squawk 3376.
Cleared to Edinburgh, Utava 1 Sierra runway 04, squawk 3376, Broadsword 01, and request push and start 45 left.
Broadsword 001, just squawk from me and then I'll give you a pushback there.
Standing by, Broadsword 01. The examiner needs to tell him you can get your pushback before I your clearance. Doesn't need to be in that order. But fair enough, he's the boss. At least we got the clearance.
For Yankee, my apologies.
We're in.
I'll ask you to cancel your approach clearance there and enter right hand all both instead of advised.
And we're flying to my home city, such a shame. Landing runway today is 06 and not 24. Yep, coming on the northeasterly runway, I'm afraid. So not over the city.
Stansted Tower, Speedbird 1343, stand 23, ready for push and start.
Perfect. So the pushback's ready, we're ready. We just got to do the pushback checks, or what we said before, start checks below the line, which is just to get the air conditioning packs off. So we got the
Speedbird 1343.
oh my god, and get the APU bleed on, just to ensure that we have the duct
KLM
pressure.
1609, contact 6120.625.
Oh my goodness, guys, your patience is very good, guys, as well. Oh, who's this guy needs to just chill. He's just trying to get in there. If you're not patient, guys, you won't make a very good airline pilot. Many a minutes I've waited, or hours in my life, for clearances and things. You just got to chill out, relax, have a sandwich, check out your Instagram, and then just wait until you're ready to go. Yeah, somewhere 95. All things considered, this port control is doing okay. I think he's doing a grand job, especially he's on his own. And obviously, there's no formal training there. Oops, I put this. It should be out off here actually. There we go. Shouldn't put it on TARE yet. Little Barrett finally made it to one of the streams. Excellent, welcome. And more if this guy gets everyone on the way, I think Dot Wallop needs to promote him to London Centre. Yeah, he does. And actually, I have to say thanks Dot Wallop on the last stream and helping to get rid of that immature child. But touch wood, he's busy doing his homework or something right now.
With information Alpha, requesting clearance to Edinburgh.
Oh, someone else going to Edinburgh. We've got to get away first, that's for sure.
Right there, 534.
I'm going to have to give this guy a nudge because I've got the squawk in there.
047.
Oh yeah, don't forget to set this to 5,000 feet. So when you get the clearance, confirm that you've got the correct MCP altitude, you've got the correct SID, Utava 1 Sierra, and you've got the correct squawk. So you're all good.
And just confirm squawk.
Oh, this guy is Scottish, so he's definitely going home.
Yes, Rod. France
God.
0010 on the 04, clear takeoff, surface in 020 degrees, and
X3 said to chill understand, tune the ADF and check the latest football scores. What are you on about? Who uses the ADF to tune the radio? I've got a welcome somewhere 95 with the membership. Thank you very much for the dedicated support, my friend. The sound quality is pretty good. Yeah, I have to admit, it's quite good. That's the tower, broadsword at 01, 45 left, request push and start. Come on.
Broadsword 01, stand 45, right, push and start approved, facing south on Juliet.
Push start approved, face south on Juliet, broadsword 01, thank you. Excellent. Right, so air conditioning pipes off, anti-collision light on, power switch at sponders out. Now I need to alter this pushback here. What do I need to do? Terminate.
Turn your transponder on, squawk no Charlie.
I hope I don't have to wait for ages now. How do I get the little thing, the little map?
Air France 0010.
Oh god, noises.
6120.625, bye-bye.
Uh-oh. Now, because I've cancelled it, I've got another member coming in here as well. I've never cancelled a pushback before. I've got Dan Kennedy coming in with the membership as well. Thank you very much for dedicated support as well. Really appreciate that. Right, let's do there we go. So he wants me on Juliet to face south, which I have actually... I need to have a look at a little chart here.
0010, contact
perfect.
London.
Oh, don't tell me it was a shame. Oh, it's already the one I already had. Oh, stupid boy. I didn't even check the flipping thing. We already are correct. Oh dear, you mongrel. So it was already correct, guys. I was confident I actually hadn't set it up correct. Right, we're good now. Excellent. So he should be straight away ready to go. Excellent. We're on our way. Whoop. What's that? How long have we streamed? 44 minutes, guys! I'm so sorry for the delay. Right, let's get these engines started. Flying engine number 2.
All station standby.
Excellent. So on Juliet facing south or southwest, so it's in the southerly direction. Right, N2. ZIBO's completely fixed the engine thrust now, so the engine start is really good now. Nice sensible acceleration of N2, N1. When you add the fuel, N2 accelerates as it should, N1 accelerates as it should. It took a lot of tweaking from ZIBO and Tim or Twerks to ensure that you got the stabilised correct engine start. And it is pretty much bang on now. So monitoring N1, N2's looking good. All temperature, EGT's good. Starter cutout, monitor 2 stable. Starting engine number 1.
127.1, let's go with 1 bye bye.
Awesome.
Speedbird 1343.
You gotta love this mod, haven't you?
Speedbird 1343.
Cargo's hold empty. Got no cargo on today. Excellent. Oh my goodness, where are we going? Enter the fuel. Last time we did a pushback, it wasn't exactly perfect, but it looks like we're good so far.
Well, the bunch speed 01 via Juliet.
That's fine there. Oh no, don't start pointing me in the other direction. Right, starter cut out. Monitor number 1, 2463, that's looking stable. Good, and oops, parking brake is set. Clear to disconnect tow bar bypass pin. Advise when clear. Excellent. Mohammed, Dane, Salani, yeah, there's still some glitches with the headings in the PFD. Yeah, the heading does zoom around a little bit, but it's something that shouldn't bother you really.
Right, F3 and continue. Welcome to Stansted. Taxi now stands 5.
I have to say this guy's done a great job actually. If he's on his own.
Taxi, left hotel.
Excellent.
Right, link Charlie. Hold short of Juliet.
Right, just to keep this show on the road, I'm going to do the flow. We wouldn't do this until we've seen the bypass bin, but generators on, APU off, start switches continuous. What's the temperature here? 6. We need the engine and wing anti-ice on for departure as well. Probes on. Wing and engine anti-ice. packs, auto, AP bleeds off, that's all set.
Delta Tower, very good evening, easy.
Flaps 5.
777 with you at
Right, lower DU, flight controls.
4. Request
Full forwards, and full back, and left centre, right centre rudders, left centre, right centre recall, and then you want to read, after doing that flow, the before taxi checklist. There it is. Excellent. Let's see if he shows us the bypass in through the rainy window.
Edinburgh, your Tower 1 Sierra on
Get your tug on the grass, mate, you're getting stuck. Beautiful, there is the bypass pin, we're all good to go. Right, I'll request taxi as soon as we get again.
Okay, that was very fast.
Peter Neptune, do you get annoyed with the wipers don't sync up? Not really.
Squawk 7016, easy 6.
7 seconds between each wipe on intermittent, I think.
Easy 6577.
That's your geeky fact of the evening.
Tower, good evening, Olympic 9042, at the gate 42, with information Alpha and Boeing 738, request permission for pass 5.
Good. So you can tell people I think are on X-plane because it looks like all the aircraft are the same level, which is pretty cool.
Alpha Yankee.
I think the sooner we get out of here, the better. Guys, if you're new to my stream, YR Lancel is a very good friend of mine. He's a captain at the same airline I work for. Very, very good friend. So if you have any questions, fire them away. He said flight time is less than the time waiting for the clearance. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the flight time is about 55 minutes, which is about as long as we've been streaming for. Anyway, let's get the taxi. Stansted Tower, Broadsword 01, request taxi.
Broadsword 01 after the British Airways A319 passes in front of you. Taxi holding point Hotel 1, runway 04 via Juliet Hotel, hold Hotel 1.
Behind the British Airways A319, taxi hotel via Juliet and hold Hotel 1, Broadsword 01. Perfect, I think I got that all right. Go home. Avitab.
Take the next.
So we're going to go all the way on to Juliet. All the way down here, and he's cleared us to hold at Hotel 1, which is a hotel. So basically a straight line, but looks like he's gone too straight. Look, he was meant to go left down here.
Broadway 001, continue taxi straight ahead on Juliet Hotel, holding point Hotel.
Okay, carry on in a straight line now, all the way via Juliet Hotel, hold short Hotel 104, Broadsword 01. Perfect, I did that all out of sequence there, so yeah, don't forget to do the config check. There we go, no takeoff config warning. Clear left, clear right. Set about 35%. That's, you don't want to set more than 35 really to initiate taxi. There we go, we'll get to a good speed here. So he just mixed his left turn there. He's on the parallel taxiway now. At least we're on our way. Perfect. So taxiing in a straight line. At the operator I work for, we do go up to 30 knots. If it's wet or slippery, you don't want to be going up at those sort of speeds, but a nice straight line like this, 25, 30 knots is fine. Now, one thing you don't get in the mod or in a desktop simulator is sometimes at certain weights, you can get a vibration on the nose wheel, and it's like you're sitting on a washing machine. It could, well, not as violent as that, but like you get this kind of rocking motion. So it's just where the nose wheel resonates at a certain frequency when it's spinning around. So you just want to bring your speed off, or up or down a few knots or so. There we've gone to idle now, and the inertia on this mod is perfect. It kind of represents the speed, you know, on a flat surface. What you do, so it pretty much holds the speed quite nicely. Perfect. So we can now do the before takeoff checklist, which is the one you find on the control column. So config, takeoff warning horn we've checked, flaps we have 5 required, 5 here and a green light, stab trim set for takeoff, takeoff briefing, packs, auto, bleeds on, the V-speeds are set for takeoff, which are 42, 43 and 46 sets. Actually I should have used wet speeds, but dry speeds are fine for the desktop simulator. The departures are new Tava 1 Sierra, climb straight ahead 2 DME, left turn inbound Barkway, stop climb 5,000 feet, which is set in the FMC as well. Squawks in, there's no emergency turn, so any problems will climb straight ahead to the MSA, which is 3,000 feet. That's reviewed, and we'll imagine the cabin's secure. There we go, checks complete for takeoff. I've got a new member coming in, Airspeed Active. Thank you very much for the membership, direct support to the channel. Really appreciate all the support. So cheers for that.
Ryanair 534
Perfect.
Charlie stand 33 pushing started.
Approaching minimums.
Mission start approved. Ryanair 534
Excellent.
Charlie. And just confirm my squawk code, please.
He's very Scottish as well.
Ryanair 534 Charlie, you're
Oh,
squawking.
get back onto the taxi line here. So when you're taxiing Israel aircraft,
Trusting radio check.
I don't know if with the correct seating position in the mod here, but you see the wiper bowl here. If you put that on the taxi line here, it pretty much keeps your nose wheel just off it like that. It just means you don't get hit the lights. Every time you hit the light, you get this dong dong dong. It's quite annoying there. So you just want to keep the nose wheel slightly off sometimes. It depends where you are.
Ryanair 153 Yankee traffic information is a light aircraft entering the right hand downwind.
Somewhere 95. What does the slow mode mean on chat? I think it just stops people repetitively commenting. You might get someone that just types a side message, presses enter over again. It just stops that from happening. Oh, crikey. No, I just want to make sure we're going the right way.
Go Yankee downwind, position go.
Can't do this. Oh, look, there's some weird thing there.
Golf Alpha Yankee,
Perfect. That's not depicted on the chart. So for turns more than 90 degrees or 90 degrees or more, 10 knots for the turn.
Continue downwind and...
So that's British Airways A319 taxi here, so hopefully we... Oh, he's not there, so we can cut in front of him. Excellent. So we haven't got any of the taxiing issues we had on the last stream in Warsaw, but there was a scenery issue where it was like you were taxiing in custard. Seems to be taxiing really well here in Stansted.
I'll be continuing touch and go to the vice, go for share company.
Perfect.
So Golf Alpha Yankee, thank you. In that case then, unfortunately, it's the right hand orbit, so that's fine.
That's it, you get the guy doing orbits out your way. That's what they do at certain airports where they have VFR traffic in the circuit, where, you know, there are operators like operator 737, they just get them to do orbits if the workload gets high, which is quite cool. Birdman, is there a backtrack? No, not today. You probably wouldn't ever do a backtrack in Stansted, even in real life, because it's so busy. You're only going to get that at a quieter airport.
Olympic 903.
Perfect. So taxi-wise, here we are. We're going to go all the way to Hotel 1 there, which is the Cat 1 holding point. Hotel 3 is the Cat 3 holding point. We can get rid of this. 1271, I guess. There's no Essex radar on frequency, so we'll put him on standby. Hopefully, are we still on the taxiway? Yes, we are.
PG 6577
There we go.
4, we are ready for pushing.
Perfect.
Got
a new member coming in, Justin Reed. Did I just say that? I can't remember. I don't think I did, but thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate all the direct support I get there. Thank you. Lono1238, can you do a London to Dubai? Well, I think that might get a bit boring for most of the people watching. I'll generally only ever do kind of 2-hour-ish flights. I've done a few 2.5, but I think for myself personally, it gets quite tiring, like talking all the time. I far rather do a shorter flight like this or a 2-sector kind of like 45-minute hour flights, really. Anyway, we'll call ready for departure as we are at Hotel 1. Oh, that shaking you get. That's a camera issue. Perfect. And Stansted Tower, broadsword 01, Hotel 104, ready for departure. As he keeled over. Essex is on frequency 120625. See, can't see it there. Oops. Private message from Stansted Tower. Voice ATIS on 127175. Stansted Tower, broadsword 01. Am I on the wrong frequency?
Broadsword 01, Stansted Tower, hello, standby.
At least he can hear us. Station calling? Yes, well, that's...
Hotel 1.
Oh. Is that for us? Broadsword 01 at Hotel 104, ready for departure. I think he said that.
Hotel 01, thank you, via Hotel 10804, clear takeoff, surface wind 02 degrees 10.
Runway 04 cleared takeoff, Broadsword 01. So confirmed via Hotel 1 cleared takeoff, first officer. He's not here. Yes, Captain. Cleared for takeoff. Clear left, clear right. Look at the grey weather out there. So, that's all good. LNAV, auto throttle, weather radar, transponder, TARA. So MCP is set, transponders, TARA, strobe lights are on. Landing lights on, cleared takeoff. Let's go to Edinburgh. Oh, I think, unfortunately, because we were so late leaving, it'll be night time by the time we land in Edinburgh. So hoping for it to be the sunset, but not to worry. Right, anyway. Seatbelts fastened. Phones off. Let's get on our way to Edinburgh. Right, so 40%. Start the timer. Oh, there we go. Stabilise. There's Toga. Set. Take off. Thrust. Excellent. Light forward pressure on the control column. And you definitely want to put your wiper to low now. There we go. Take off thrust sets. Indications normal. 80 knots checked.
Which bro face is EG6577?
Excellent. Hand off the thrust lever V1, rotate nice and slow, keep the rudder on the centre line, keep the wings level, and we're airborne. Excellent. Positive rate climb onto the fly directors, gear can now come up. And trim. And as soon as you're airborne, guys, you don't need the wipers, you know, your IMC, you don't need to be looking out the window. Excellent. Verify the roll mode, which is LNAV. No weather, excellent. To the cloud. Excellent, there's the autopilot command A. Can now bug up.
Report final, runway 04, number 2, following a Ryanair 737 on final.
Excellent.
About 2 miles.
Still in the soup.
Is 5 miles.
So there's V2 plus 15. Let's get a good accelerating trend vector.
Yeah, go check off Yankee.
So ZIBO said he's altered the way at which it pitches down. This is not aggressive enough, it's very gentle. There we go. Flap 1. Maybe a little bit more aggressive. He said he changed it.
Pro 01, contact London Control 127.1, bye bye.
London 127.1, Broadsword 01. Good evening, bye bye. Bro 01. That's why it comes up. Excellent, there's London Centre. And flaps up. Oh look, they've got CPDLC on VATSIM. No. That's pretty cool. Right, anyway, we'll check in with London Centre there. Tim, I've said this to you before. There's no need to donate. You remember, you do so much. Jesus Christ, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it nonetheless.
Right, 152, Yankee climb.
Right, can now select vertical speed because we're coming up to our stop altitude. 2,000. Let's set straight up to 1,000 feet per minute after takeoff checklist. So off. Engine anti-ice needs to stay on because it's below 10 degrees TAT. Air conditioning pressurization 1.8, and that's all set. Just holding set standard, we can now accelerate the aircraft to 250 knots as well. And we'll put up Barkway as the active frequency.
And now we'll check it. London 123.19, he can give you further.
LNAV's bugging out, so yeah, it is cutting the corners like that. Just didn't notice that. One to go.
1,000 to go.
Try to check in there.
EG69 Lima Mike, good evening. EDC1 Alpha arrival landing.
What is CPDLC? It's what does it stand for? Is it Controller Pilot Data Link Communications? It's basically a way of communicating with ATC without using the radio, just for non-urgent commands like direct routings and climbs. Just frees up the frequency. We don't have it, but we're going to be getting it soon at the my operator. So yeah, it's just a way of talking to each other. London, good evening. Broadsword 01. Utava 1 Sierra, passing 4,800 for altitude 5,000 feet.
Broadsword 01, good evening. London Control, Roger. Squawk ident, climb now, flight level 220.
Squawk ident, climb now, flight level 220. Broadsword 01. done exactly like in real life. Very nice. So that is set, 220 checked. We can now delete the restrictions.
Level 230.
A couple of 5,000 feet. And most importantly of all, when you select VNAV, do not forget to set standard. That's vital. Right, standard's now set, passing 50, flight level 220. And we can release the cabin crew so they can go get serving croissants to the flight data sim passengers. Brilliant. 700 people watching this stream. Let's not swear. Guys, incredible. Thank you. Captain Caffel, is this the new 700? No, I'm only involved with the ZIBO mod. ZIBO, the 700 Ultimate or whatever it is, has the ZIBO flight model. But Audio Bird XP's kind of changed it to the 700. He's asked if I could stream in the 700 at some point, so we might jump into it at some point. Perfect. Laurie Lowe, I wish X-Plane would get rid of the warp speed rain effect. Absolutely. You feel like you're in the Millennium Falcon flying through this. But to be fair, if you've got the lights on and it's not too bright, this is kind of what it looks like. So, you know, it's a... Actually, no, tell you what, it does look kind of like that. If I get a chance and I fly through a bit of rain, I'll try and grab it on the work iPad on the camera there, so you can kind of see what it looks like. But it's not too dissimilar to this. Maybe a little bit exaggerated. Alan Davis, Flight to Sim. So, how many times have you inadvertently used broadsword in real-life frequency exchanges? Not as often as I've used my real call sign in a live stream, put it that way. Oh, my goodness. Not quite. But I've actually flown with a couple of first officers now who've recognised my... my masculine voice. They said, "You're the flight data sim guy, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah."
Easy 69 Lima Mike.
Excellent. Look at that. That is, to this day, still my favourite part of a job in real life, even in a sim. You brake on top of the cloud, and it's lovely. Like you get the just the same in reality. Very nice. And we can pop the edge and anti-ice off as well. Right, that's flight level 100. We can do the pre-cruise checks. So fuel, 4 pumps on board, 5.4 on board, arriving with 3.6. That's plenty. Lights can now come off. APU's off. Pressurization 4.0, and that is all set. Seatbelts can go to auto now. Recall. Pre-cruise checks are complete, and currently en route to Buzzard now. I'd be nudging ATC in real life, in reality, saying, "Oh, look, give us a shortcut," but usually they can't because there's so much traffic over London, and in real life, ATC are very good at giving you shortcuts if there's no traffic in that sector. Bill Barrett, can you check to see if ZIBO respects the bank angle limiter? And I haven't got that to work. Well, in LNAV, it doesn't take into account what the angle of bank select is. It's only in heading select or VORLOC if you're following a VOR beacon. So it should, it might be that you're in LNAV still.
Broadsword 01, proceed direct SHAP.
Direct to SHAP, Broadsword 01. Where is that? There it is. Shap. Excellent. This guy must be listening to my stream because he heard me for my shortcut. Execute. LNAV available. LNAV engaged. Just like in real life, you often get really decent shortcuts like this. It's quiet. 174 miles. This is why VATSIM, guys. It's free. It's a free service. You get a really good service as well. James Everingham, why anti-ice off even though you're under 10 degrees? It's because we're no longer in any visible moisture there, so that's why. Got a new member coming in. We have Gilio Bagat. Thank you very much for the membership and dedicated support to the channel. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Anyone that becomes a member, you know, I really appreciate that because it's quite difficult with my work to kind of give something in return because you know that the membership fee is something I never request or ask for. By becoming a member, I have a private members only Discord where you've got myself there. I check it very frequently. We've got a nice bunch of guys now. We've got a friend of mine who's a 787 first officer. He's helping me run it as well, answering lots of questions. So you kind of like get a bit of a personalised one-on-one experience if you have any aviation related questions. But we've got a couple of PPL guys, a lot of flight sim experts in there now. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that.
Descend at 2,000 feet per minute or greater until advised.
Aaron White, I really need to learn how to do a proper ATC communication. Looks like a lot of fun. Well, if you download this, I'm typing in the box now. CAP413, type that in Google, you'll get the UK radio telephonic manual. It's completely free, and that will give you a rough idea of what you need to say when talking to ATC.
London Stansted, speedbird 1343.
Excellent.
Flight through 3,900 for 5,000.
1343, roger. I was
Gotta
just
love
talking
those
to the
sounds.
aircraft, so you'll need to wait your turn. Easy, 69, and leave a mic. Did you copy?
Patience needed.
Yeah, 2000.
Philip Bolsky, I see you're a member. How can I get into the Discord? You need to sync your YouTube to your Discord account. You should be automatically invited, so it recognises that you're a member, and then you get invited. So it's like it syncs automatically with YouTube members. James Rayner, does Edinburgh have a VOR beacon? I don't think there's one on the field. There is a VOR just to the south of the airport. I think it's called Tala VOR. It's part of the arrival, I think, but there's no beacon on the field. There's a couple of NDBs, but no VOR. Perfect. So approaching flight level 220. Again, we start slowing our rate of climb. 3 to go around 3,000 feet per minute, 2 to go 2,000 feet per minute, and 1 to go 1,000 feet per minute. Excellent. So 1 to go. So this is something I've noticed with the mod. We've got this using reserve fuel message. Now that should only appear if you get towards this. If your arrival fuel is less than the reserves, you get this message using reserve fuel. But this says 2.2 and this is 3.3, so we should not be getting a using reserve fuel message. That is a bug or a glitch or something there. So yeah, I'll just make a note of that to let ZIBO know. I think I mentioned it before, but it does sometimes come up a bit spuriously using reserve fuel message. Hopefully we'll get that fixed.
Broadsword 01, climb flight level 360.
Climb flight level 360, broadsword 01. Perfect, so that's our final cleared level. Sound set, VNAV, and we've got it set once, twice, and 3 times. Whoops. Here, no, what am I checking? The FMC on the climb page, and we then monitor the international distress frequency 121.5. There we go. So, where are we geographically if we look at this map? So, we've got EGP, that's Coventry, heading northwest, and we've got East Midlands Airport, that's directly here, so right over the Midlands, and then, as I said, we basically follow the motorway all the way up to M6 towards Glasgow, essentially, but not looking at the motorway, but essentially the same way. Excellent. And this is the view for the fare-paying flight deck to sim passengers. They actually got their tickets in a magazine coupon. Smalled up, how do I get your Discord? You'd need to become a member on my channel. It's a members-only Discord I run there. Hologram, have you ever tried to turn off all fuel pumps? It seems that the engines are still working when all 6 handles are off. Well, yes. Number 1 tip, please may I advise you do not turn off the fuel pumps, but the engines are capable of suction feeding from the fuel tanks with the fuel pumps off. However, at high altitudes, any air in the pipelines can dissolve and you can actually starve the engine of fuel. So if you're at a cruise level, you turn the fuel pumps off, it is likely the engines will flame out. So yeah, don't do that.
Squawk identify now 534 Charlie.
Excellent, we've got another member coming. The membership's going all out today. Trevor Hawk 2000, thank you very much for the membership and the dedicated support to the channel. Really appreciate all the support I get on here. So thank you very much for that. That's a shame, it's going to be dark I think by the time we get to Edinburgh. Sun's just about to set. It's hoping to be on the descent now. But as was the delay out of Stansted this evening.
Broadsword 01, contact London 123.9, goodbye.
London 123.9, broadsword 01, good day. Excellent.
Ryanair 534 Charlie, time flight level 340, proceed direct, correct.
So London Centre again.
Turn right, 7285. Heading 285 Lufthansa 2504. Ask, can I remove the descent because my FMGS says
What's this guy? What's saying? Some German guy, I think.
2504, there's somebody underneath you at the moment.
So this quality's not quite as good as the other controller.
2504.
At London Stansted.
Papa November 10 left now, heading 285.
Now heading straight 5 is 845 November.
At London Centre, good evening. Broadsword 01, climbing flight level 360, Shap. Oh, there's the clouds rebuilding themselves.
Broadsword 001, running control, yeah, continue towards Shap.
As cleared, Broadsword 01. Perfect, so cleared, as cleared, direct to Shap, which is pretty much at our top of descent point anyway, so I actually don't know if we're going to get ATC coverage all the way. I wasn't expecting it this far. Having a look on the VATSIM map.
We're down to 2504, descent flight level 160.
Doesn't look like it, so we might have to just do traffic. Oh yeah, this is we're gonna lose AC coverage quite shortly, just to the south of East Midlands Airport. Finley Barfoot, which airline do you have to help with the cleaning in the turnaround? No, thankfully not. Far busy doing more important things, if I'm honest. But having said that, if I'm in the back and I've done everything I need to do, and the girls are picking a few bits, I don't mind picking a few bits of scraps, you know. But no, I've got a few other priorities there. And the guys and girls in the back, they do a fantastic job, you know, trying to get the aircraft on a turnaround, which can sometimes be very quick. It's a tough job for them.
Bravo, Unicom 12282.
ZIBO Pilot's here. Now, I have spoken to you a few times. I hope you're very well this evening. Sorry I didn't get back to you on your message as well, because I do get a lot of messages in. Good evening, buddy. When will we see you flying on Iveo? Not too sure when. I've had that asked a few times. When VATSIM works like now, it's perfect. I don't have any issues with VATSIM whatsoever. And whilst it's working, I probably will stick to it. But if we do have continued issues with spammers and the like, might try it one day. But I quite like VATSIM, if I'm honest. I think it has a little bit more coverage. I might be completely wrong. I don't know that much about it, but I'll have a look. Brian Kruger, speaking of rain, are 737s and or airlines that size susceptible to hydroplaning? Absolutely, yeah. If there's a lot of standing water, the aircraft can be quite susceptible to hydroplaning, which is why we have the speed brakes, ground spoilers, reverse thrust, very important in ensuring the aircraft slows down. They're very effective at high speeds at slowing the aircraft down. But yeah, absolutely. And that's why actually Boeing recommend on a wet runway or contaminated runway quite a firm landing, you know, to get the wheel through, break through the water layer or contaminated layer to get that grip. Perfect. Oh, that bank angle to 10 degrees. I did remember that. Excellent. Right, so get rid of all the charts for Stansted. Going now to Edinburgh. There we go. We want arrival, Tweed, and the ILS 06 there. We want NTB ILS 06, and the airport we're going to want airport. There we go. Perfect. So we'll brief all that shortly after reaching top of climb. We've got a new member coming in again, Alan Hughes. Thank you very much for the membership and dedicated support. I'll catch up with all of you later on Discord. Thank you very much, my friend. Perfect. So there's East Midlands. This is the Midlands area, so probably just coming up overhead Nottingham for those of you from the UK. The home of Robin Hood. Again, there's Derby, Nottingham. Excellent. And as I said, we're going to go near Manchester, and we're essentially following the main motorway all the way up to Scotland towards Carlisle, and then we'll just break off slightly more northerly towards Edinburgh. Probably landing in about 40 minutes or so. Excellent. One to go. We're already doing 1,000 feet per minute from VNAV. All looking good. Sam Ambassador, what is the current altitude? Well, we're on a flight level. We're passing 353 for flight level 360. Exactly, you know, the modern is working fantastically. We're typically typically at top of climb at around 18-22 minutes after takeoff. The thrust and flight model it's the bomb. It's really, really good. James Rayner, how did you get into aviation, integrated or modular? I went on an integrated course back in 2010 because back then it was supposedly the most preferred option by the airlines, and I had to take a huge loan out to convince my parents to secure that loan against the property their house, and managed to get through. But nowadays, is there a pilot shortage? I don't know. I think there's a lot of need for pilots to be trained, so it doesn't really matter how you train, modular, integrated, as long as you get the same license at the end of it. It depends on your personal circumstances. Right, there we go, top of climb, LNAV, VNAV, seatbelts, fasten belts are off, weather radars, all good. And when I'm in the real aircraft, I'm in the cruise, I set the range to 160, which give you an 80-mile ring here, which is a nice range to monitor weather. And you alter something called the tilt to get the angle, so you get a little bit of ground, and then anything that comes in between ground and you is going to be a cell of some sort, so you can plan on how to avoid any weather. Excellent. Well, we've got about 100 miles from top of descent, so approximately what's that going to be, about 15-20 minutes or so. It's a lovely evening. So let's go on a little external view for a second. There we go. Perfect. You don't get this luxury in real life. Fantastic. There is the sun setting. Marvin Z, good evening sir, is this your starting point for one stream per week now? I absolutely wish. I'm currently on my month off, so it's going to give me for the next 4 weeks a lot more opportunity to stream, but when I go back to work, I'm currently commuting because I've just done recently the upgrade to become a captain, and I have to drive 6 hours or catch an hour flight to my new base, so it's going to be really difficult to stream after May. I'm hoping at least one every 10 days. It's going to most likely be every 2 weeks because of the amount of days I have off in between duties. Sometimes it'll be less frequent, but this is, I don't want to think about that. I'm going to enjoy this month, get lots of streams out for you guys, because we're not planning on any holidays. We've just got a 4 or 5 day break, my partner and I, in the UK this year, because she's crew as well. So we both have to work around our work. Can be difficult sometimes. Fair, hi, I've got a question. What do you do if you make...
all stations on the broadcast. Sorry, the other control is not enough. And this is far too big of a sector for me to control on my own, so I'm going to log on a smaller position. So if you're in my airspace, I will ask you to contact me. Otherwise, monitor Unicorn 123, please.
So you said something about monitor Unicorn.
Bye-bye.
Or something, because he's closing up the airspace, but I'll listen out for my call sign. Ben Spouse, is tilt modelled in ZIBO? No, the weather radar is a fixed thing here, and it uses active sky to basically control some aspects of the weather there. Now, I think I'm going to have to go to Unicom. I'm having a look here on ATC, and yeah, it says there's no coverage in this sector now. So what I'm going to do, oh yeah, leaving room for Com1, disconnecting. So I'm going to go to Unicom now. Is it 122.8, isn't it? There we go. I'm with the VAT sim now. I know how it works. When I started, I was like, "What is this Unicom nonsense?" But I'm with the VAT sim kids now. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Right. So, what we should probably do is start talking about the approach into Edinburgh, because it's not a huge way to go. So typically around 100 miles prior to top of descent, the pilot flying, which could be either the captain or first officer, would hand over control to pilot monitoring, and then start setting up for the approach. So we always start on the descent page. We'll put 250 below 100. Now it'd be good to see here, because ZIBO's made... Oh, no. It should put 250 slash... It should do that in the real aircraft. It'll be good to see here, because ZIBO's done a lot of fine-tuning with VNAV here. And I think it works quite well at holding the thrust now, so it'll be good to see how it works. We pop in the winds for 310, 200 and 100, which is generated from the descent format of the operational flight plan. Again, ZIBO has a very basic function of the descent winds program. It's not as exactly precise as it is in a real aircraft, but it does look at this information and alter VNAV ever so slightly. But we might notice some quite we have to add thrust quite a bit, because there's quite a lot of wind in the initial part of descent. You know, we've got around 100 knots, 75 knots at 200, at 100 it's 336 at 21, so it'll be interesting to see how VNAV behaves on the descent there. Let's just check the QNH in Edinburgh. That is updating now. 1018. Well, it's pretty nice down there actually. Excellent. Executes. Ice deviation. If it's around ISA, it's 5 degrees. Yeah, I generally don't put any information in there. It makes such a little difference, I found, on your VNAV profile. So I generally leave it blank unless there's a big temperature change, like more than 15 degrees from ISA. But we can set the QNH here as well. 1018. Runway 06. We'll put our infamous fix rings in to help us configure and plan our descent. There we go. And what are we at? 36,000 feet, so 105/108. Now this is this ring here is 3 times your altitude. So we're at 36,000 feet. We'll take 36 times that by 3, and basically you get 3 times your height, which is 108 nautical miles. And it really helps with your descent planning. And what you should see is that the top of descent point is pretty close to your ring there. It's not too far off, so you can see it works pretty well there. I've got a tip and donation coming in. I've got... Oh, Jesus. Brian Kruger has just donated 76 quid. Thank you for renewing my love for aviation. Since I've stumbled upon your channel a couple of weeks ago, I now feel like I have something to look forward to each day after work. Well, Brian, that is probably the most money I've ever received in a tip and donation, and that is incredible generosity. Like I said, a lot of the money goes to me is invested on the channel. That's why I always try and get paid at airports, and a little bit goes to the side to help me run everything there. But yeah, thank you so much. That's extremely generous. That's very, very kind. You should have just become a member and saved yourself a lot of money. Oh my goodness. Well, that will go a long way to helping the channel and getting a few bits and pieces for myself. So thank you very much. My goodness, I feel like I'm blushing with that generosity. Very, very kind. You've completely thrown me off track. I was explaining the fixed rings, 3 times your height. So that's all done. Now let's have a look at the approach we're flying. Now it's been flown into Edinburgh a few times. If we go to here, airport descent. Now this arrival here is called the Tweed 3 Alpha. It's an RNAV arrival. Aircraft on all routes may be radar vectored, or you very much like to get radar vectored in airports like Edinburgh there. Brian Kruger, use some of it to take your better half out to a nice dinner. You're already a member. Sorry, Brian. Thank you very much. We will go for. We're going out tomorrow for some drinks, so I'll mention it. Thanks, my buddy. So we're coming in from Eskdo. There's a speed limit point here, so the aircraft should have that programmed, and it should reduce from your planned descent target speed to 250 knots to this waypoint called Papa Hotel Sierra 48, which is 10 miles before the Talavera. So if we have a look here in the FMC, go to the plan page, you will see there it is, Papa Hotel Sierra 48, 250 knots. Now we're at a cost index of 30, which gives us 284 knots of a descent there. Paul Emerson, gotta go guys, catch you all later, see you. I'll catch up with you later as on Discord. Thank you very much for turning up. So you can see here there is a decel point, so the aircraft VNAV in its descent planning has gone right. You want me to be 250 knots at Papa Hotel Sierra 48, I'll plan to start reducing speed here. So you can see here it takes about 5 miles to get to 250 knots. So we'll leave it in VNAV, we'll monitor the descent, make sure that works correctly there. So from Papa Hotel Sierra 48 we go to Tartan. There it is, Tartan. Now from Tartan it says route direct to the NDB beacon. Now that is not going to happen in real life. You're going to get vectors most likely prior to Tartan or just after Tartan. Now if we have no ATC contact or they're busy, it says do not proceed beyond Tartan to the Edinburgh beacon without ATC clearance. So it'd have to go from Tartan, make a left turn to enter the hold at Tweed. Now obviously we're not going to do that today because there's no issues with that. So what we're going to do from Tartan is just route direct to the centre fix. You can see here it goes Tartan Tweed. Well, we're not going to do that unless we have to hold there. So all I'm going to do is get rid of Tweed and bring the centre fix to the top there. Excellent. That's going to be a little bit more realistic. Now if we increase the scales slightly, you can see here, there's the centre fix. Now that's quite a sharp turn for LNAV to do. In fact, if you let LNAV do that, it would completely overshoot the localizer. So what we need to do is create a waypoint 90 degrees off the runway QDM. So what we're going to do is go to the ILS chart, 061, 90 degrees off that is going to be 151. So we'll take this waypoint here, CI06, you then type in the radial you want, which is 151, and a distance of about 4 miles or so, and this will create, you put it here, the waypoint before you want. Oh, have I done that wrong? What QDM did I say? No, ignore me guys, 061, no, why has that put it that way? That's a bit of a glitch, I think, how that's displayed that. Yeah, I think that's in the correct place. Let me just change this to CI06 here, execute. I hope that's correct. Yeah, that's looking correct. So prior to executing, there's a bit glitched there. So it looks really, really... I need to mention that to ZIBO. So prior to executing, the ND display was incorrect. But that's going to be far more representative of the ATC vectors you're going to display here. Now, usually you wouldn't delete restrictions here in the FMC, but this 4,000 feet restriction, well, it leaves you slightly, well, typically, it usually leaves you slightly high, but it's giving us a slightly lower height. We'll leave it in at 4,000 there, but it's usually slightly something different in reality. So that's it. That's going to be kind of representative of the vectors you'd get. You just use heading select though. But we'll probably just use LNAV today and go all the way in off the ILS. Excellent, so that's the arrival. What else is important on this chart? The holdings, descent planning, there's some other restrictions to comply with. You have the routing here, but there's no nav aids required. It's an RNAV arrival there. So we can leave the star chart there. We then have the ILS. We have ILS 06 108.9, which we can now tune. There we go. 108.9 for the ILS. I will not forget the courses today, which I often forget. We'll put the Tanner VOR, because there's no VOR for the missed approach, 13.8. There we go. 13.8. That's now set, and we've got the ILS course 061, so I haven't forgotten today. Excellent, that is now set. Both sides. Now the minimums, look down here. ILS for a Category C aircraft, doesn't matter what category you are, it's all the same. 310 feet, 200 feet AGL, which is the standard Cat 1 ILS. RVR required of 550 metres with all full approach lighting available. So we can set 310 feet for the minima, which is here. Excellent. So it still has the MF race set in the background. There we go. That is now set. Excellent. So pretty much everything we need to punch in we have done. The frequencies, the courses, the minimums. There is an NDB beacon at 4.6 miles on the ILS, so 368. We can tune that as well. 368, it's already there. So we'll just select ADF here. And ADF there as well. Excellent, so that is all set. That's it really. Missed approach, very simple here in Edinburgh I think. Climb straight ahead to 3,000 feet then as directed, so we just go runway heading, climb straight ahead, and then you get vectored probably for another approach. And here's the runway. Runway 06 then, landing distance available. Where do you find that on the Jeppesen chart? Not on this chart, that's for sure. We want airport info. There we go. So runway 06, we want beyond the threshold, 2,344 metres. So slightly, it's a displaced threshold about 200 metres or so. And for runway occupancy, you probably want to make the second exit here, which is at Charlie. So we'll plan to vacate at Charlie. Now that distance is about 1,800 metres landing distance. And from the OPT, just you obviously always check the performance. I know flap 30, order brake 3. And second detent reverse works quite nicely so long as you touch down nice and firmly on the touchdown zone. So no promises for any smooth landings today. So there's some weather depicted on the weather radar. That's going to be plenty far away from us, 20 miles off to the east or so. Active Sky does have a very basic weather radar engine which allows you to read weather. And if you do fly through any red bits on the weather radar, it does get quite bumpy indeed. So you have to have to take that into account. So that's pretty much all it. That's a nice easy setup to a simple ILS approach today into Edinburgh, and then you'd hand over control and do the descent checklist, which is on the control column. This represents the checklist we use here at my operator. Descent checklist: pressurization, you confirm you have the land out set, anti-ice is off, approach brief and fuel you've discussed with your pilot monitoring, and IS out bugs. You've got the VREF set for landing, your minimums, and preset the QNH. So yeah, descent checklist is complete. Excellent. Marvin said, what numbers show radio and what Barrett at what chart? So use radio altimeter for kind of auto lands, Cat 2, Cat 3, where it says it's a height above the ground, DA, and we use a decision DH, sorry, and we do use a decision altitude, which is for Cat 1 ILS and non-precision approaches, which is your minimums there. We've got a new member coming in, Steaming Spoon 60. Thank you very much for the direct support and membership. Welcome to my channel. Well, you've probably already been well aware of it, but welcome to our little club we have going on there. I'll catch up with you later on in Discord. So, coming up to Shap. Actually, I'm not 100% where we are geographically. Probably close to the English-Scottish border. Oh no, Carlisle's up there, so we're still in England. Routing onwards, northwest towards Edinburgh. Gillis, you commented earlier, I love watching your streams. I wanted to become ATC but wasn't allowed to because I'm slightly colourblind. Watching your streams gives me joy and makes me forget that. Well, very sorry to hear about your colourblindness. I wasn't even aware that to become an air traffic controller you needed to have colour vision, but nonetheless I'm glad you get your fulfilment from watching these streams nonetheless. Chris 73 is 250 knots indicated airspeed at 36,000 feet. It's not slow. Yeah, it's probably someone said. This was always confusion. Now, when I was much younger in flight sim, I always used to wonder, why am I doing 255 knots, you know, up here? Well, you're not. Well, you are through the air. That's the amount of air that goes through the pitot tube. But as you climb higher, the air density decreases. So there's less air molecules going through the pitot tube. In reality, your true airspeed is your speed through the air is 442 knots. But your indicated airspeed is still very important at high altitude with regards to limitations and stuff. But yeah, as we get closer as you descend, if you maintain a fixed true indicated airspeed, your true airspeed will decrease, and eventually when you get towards sea level it should match your indicated airspeed. Maliki, you have the best viewers of these donations saying you're going to be completely wasted. Yeah, I will be. I'll be falling over, that's for sure. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's extremely generous, you know. It's very, very nice indeed. I do like to put that to the side and get some nice things to the mod. Now, I bought loads of scenery this week as well. Oh, for those who are interested, and I'm not paid to say this either, Orbex have a sale on. I bought their Southampton and Cardiff scenery. I bought the Edinburgh scenery for today's stream. I bought the Faroe Islands, which we need to go and see. I bought Rome, Fiumicino. So I bought a lot of scenery. I think I've got like 30 add-on airports now in total. And I'm always going to try, whenever we do a stream, and find the payware scenery so we get the nicest airports looking there. Not that we spend much time there, but it certainly brings an ever more immersive experience to you. Brandon Postma, hi, I love your streams, thank you very much. Gary, if you get vectors on a certain heading, but the wind blows you off by 10 degrees, which heading do you set in the MCP? Now, ATC will take that into account, so whatever heading they give you, you just fly it. They're well aware of what the wind is doing. Right, so reset MCP altitude. If there was anyone to talk to, I'd say broadsword 01 request descent, and we'll just imagine we descend clear all the way to flight level 80. That's because I want to monitor VNAV and this descent, make sure it's behaving correctly. Steaming Spoon, hi guys, new member. I have my Discord link to this YouTube account, but I haven't received an invite. Where do I get that? Now, I think it takes 10 minutes or so to sync up or something. You should then get it. If you type in on Google Discord YouTube members, it explains it in a bit more detail, but you'll definitely get it there. Awesome. So, we've already set low altitude. That means VNAV, as soon as it passes top of descent, will initiate its planned descent there. Here comes the profile. This should go to retard. Quite late in the mod. There we go. Excellent. Thrust is going back nicely. Excellent. There we go. Tristan, you need a lot of space with your hard drive, those add-ons. Yeah, I have 2 hard drives. I've got a solid state 512GB, which is what X-Plane runs on Windows, most of the add-ons, and then I have Ortho 4XP on a conventional SATA drive. It's about 7 terabytes worth of that. I've got all of Europe at base level 17. So I've still got plenty of room on the solid state drive, because this PC which I use is purely for X-Plane. It's for streaming. I've got a laptop, which is my kind of where I do all my work and stuff, but this PC is dedicated to the channel. You know, which I invested in this PC when I about, what was it? I had this PC now about a year and a half now. Prior to even planning on any live streams, but I was doing everything when my first tutorial was on an old laptop where the performance was horrific. But yeah, this one's a bit of a beastly machine. John Doe! Exclamation mark beer! Love it. Banter below. Oh dear. Excellent. So looking here, track required. Shouldn't have that message because we're not above our target speed. But based on our cost index of 30, it's doing a reasonably good job holding its target speed. It's gone to FMC speed because it's a little bit low. Maybe it should have got a little bit lower. But it seemed like it was reducing speed slightly. I'd put that down to the fact we've got a 108 knot headwind. Which I don't know with ZIBO's ZIBO's descent forecast wind VNAV calculation. I think it's a very basic formula, so you'll find that with a wind that's quite strong like this, it will not behave as well maintaining its descent speed. But the same in the real aircraft. If the winds are very different, or you don't put the forecast winds in, again the aircraft won't maintain its target speed. Excellent. So we've got someone talking here. Edinburgh traffic, KLM, turning final runway 6. Got Edinburgh traffic, runway 06 expected in 10 minutes. We'll start butting in there, making some comments as we get closer. You know what? Maybe I need to talk to ZIBO because it's doing a really good job maintaining the target speed. It's slightly off. You can see here with idle thrust, it's slowly reducing speed. Like I said, the real aircraft is very good at maintaining speed, but sometimes it can be quite off. You have to add thrust and change thrust all the time. So we'll leave it as it is. It might go to FMC speed a few times, but then the first test is going to be with the speed limit point here at Papa Hotel Sierra 48, see if it reduces to 250 knots. But yeah, it'll probably go back to FMC speed in a second as the speed comes back. It's doing a reasonably good job at holding the target speed. So if you're in the mod and you see it's doing that, don't fret, don't worry. Even in the real aircraft, sometimes it can reduce off its target speed slightly, but usually if you get all the correct data in there, it's very good at ensuring it maintains it there. Very good. Brandon Posma, bank angle to 25 degrees. There's always someone that wants an excellent first officer on these aircraft. FlySim 24, do you ever get the auto throttle dropping out? No, I think... Have I ever had that happen? I don't think so. I've flown without the auto throttle, with it inoperative, but certainly not had it fail on me. Nick Astor, do you find the ZIBO mod is a bit aggressive on the change in pitch when adjusting for speed? For example, at 10,000 feet. Yes, Nick, it was quite aggressive. 2.6, this version I'm doing here, pre-release version, which I think ZIBO will release after this stream. He's actually turned it down quite a bit. And actually, I noticed on the departure, it was not aggressive enough. It was very gentle at altering the pitch there. But I need to do more testing and more flying in the mod to see if it is. But it was previously a little bit aggressive. Perfect. Hologram, what does the progress page say? How long it'll take to Edinburgh? I reckon here 20 minutes or so, 2012. Yeah, look at that. Not, oh, look at that. You just, it's some stuff you can't teach. 20 minutes 33. Look at that. That's just from experience, roughly around that's from height. Yeah, how long you got to be. So yeah, 20 minutes now. We should be touching down at Edinburgh. 9:30 local time in the UK. Hopefully there'll just be enough light to see what's going on. Birdman, as a professional pilot, do you always have the concept of potential energy, as in what do you have due to height and what you can waste on descent? Yeah, it's a very, actually, I mean, I'm no physics expert, but the very basic principle of energy transfer is important on an aircraft like this. So obviously your height representing potential energy, yeah, you can trade that by pitching up, reducing speed, and training your kinetic for potential. But yeah, we do actually, well, I say that, I'm no longer in the sim now as a type rating instructor, but we used to teach the very basic principles of potential, chemical, and kinetic energy, and the transfer of that energy in the descent. Generally, the faster you go, the quicker you'll descend anyway, and you'll have also an increase in parasitic drag as well. So that's usually the most efficient way if you're high. If there's no speed restriction, just to actually increase your speed. But I have a tutorial called I think it's called high energy approach management or something, which I did back in the PMDG. It was one of my earlier tutorials. If I can find it, I'll send you the link, which talks about some of the fundamental importance parts of the descent. Where is it? This is one of my most popular videos, actually, a very early one. I'll share it with you, and that'll go into descent planning, so it's quite a popular one. Perfect. And paste. Excellent. There you go. Mohammed Al Masri just saying hi. Well, hello to you. Excellent. So yeah, it's, I don't know, it's, I think I had some reports earlier, it's just slowly reducing speed and having to go back to FMC speed a few times. As I said, I'm putting that down to the fact we've got a massive headwind here. I need to do the tests in zero wind. I think ZIBO, as I said, has a very basic VNAV descent forecast wind program, but this would make a big difference on your VNAV profile. An 80 knot headwind, it would plan its top of descent a lot later, so just maintain the target speed with idle thrust. Captain Kringles, are you married? If so, what time you got with Mrs. Very personal question. Not married, and she's incredibly supportive of the channel. She realises how much it's how passionate I am. I really love it. It's my little thing, you know, I've done to return to my simming roots, but she gives me plenty of time for this, which is great. Just quiz, did you study at CAE? Because I'm having an interview in July at Oxford. I did, well, what was previously Oxford Aviation Academy. I know it's new, and now it's been no. I now know it has been renamed to CAE only, but yeah, I did my training. It was a good school, and I think it still is very good at CAE. Excellent. So passing flight level 200. Again, we'll just check the pressurization panel, make sure everything's in order. It's all looking good. Diff pressures is important. We haven't got any failures set up, so we should be behaving all correctly. Captain Kringles, you've got to keep her. Cheers. Excellent. So we're coming up to the speed limit point. There we go. So it's reduced our planned descent target speed from 284 to 250. So what VNAV should do, it should now pitch up the aircraft, which it is. Reduce the speed without changing the thrust. It should stay at arm the whole time. So it should be doing that. It should be pitching up a little bit more to maintain 250. Maybe it will do in a minute. But it's still descending at a fair rate of knots here. So usually when you pass the decel point, yeah, it'll start bringing the nose up to do around approximately 1,000 feet per minute just to bring the speed back. We're still going down at 2,000 feet per minute. Drag required now, yep, because we are going above our target speed. Here we go, look, there we go. So it's now pitching up to get to our target speed. It was a little bit late doing that, but it should be a little bit earlier. And there we go. And as soon as it's back on its target speed, it should hopefully still be on its profile, and then it will continue descending at its new target speed, which is 250 knots. There we go. Yeah, that's it. I'd say that's a pass. A little bit high on its target speed, but that should come back nicely. And it looks for 250 because the wind's died off. It's going to hold it nicely. So what I'm going to do, I wouldn't probably quite use speed brake at this point if it was only a few knots fast, but I'm just going to use speed brake to get it bang on 250, just because I want to make sure when we're at 250, see how well it's holding the target speed at idle thrust. Right, seatbelt sign can come on. It's approximately 15 minutes to landing. There we go. Yeah, and you can just see, look, it's just losing a few knots there. Oh, no, maybe not. I think it's doing it's doing a pretty good job. Even in the real aircraft, you might see it wander a few knots there. Excellent. So we're on the arrival now. There's past Escadoe, the speed limit point, now inbound to Tartan. As I said, prior to Tartan, you'd be talking to Edinburgh approach, who would vect you onto the respective runway. But we're just going to use the kind of LNAV course we built. Actually, one other thing I want to put in is 180 knots or below at CI06. Go. Execute. Now, one thing the mod does do, still does, you see here, if we go to CI001, there's a decel point to get from 250 to 180 knots. Now, that is impossible. You cannot get from 250 knots to 180 knots in a distance of 4 miles. So look, it's 250 knots, 4 miles later, 180. It should be about 8-10 miles away, not 4 miles. So we'll have to do something to make sure that speed comes back. It's going to plan to decelerate very, very late. It's something the mod's always had, but generally the VNAV does work quite well. Ed Moore, sorry, I missed your question there, buddy. Would they notice that you went through that speed limit point at 260? Generally, they wouldn't say anything unless they specifically say maintain a speed of this, you know. But it's our job to make sure that we comply with it. So I'm manually adding thrust here now, just because I don't want to get any slower. Again, it should be bang on 250. It still needs some tweaking. Again, probably down to the fact we've got approximately a 30 knot headwind. Excellent. Shall I better say something on here? What do I even know what to type. There's probably a formal way of doing it. I'm just gonna. It should come up with broadsword 01. I said broadsword 01 overhead Tartan 10 minutes to landing runway 06. Oh yeah, I don't need to put broadsword 01 because it's already there. Oh, I should probably put Edinburgh as well. Never mind. Anyway, I'm sure they'll understand which runway I mean. Cool, so yeah, when we get below the cloud it's going to be a bit dark, a bit dingy unfortunately. But yeah, it's looking good nonetheless. There we go. A little bit of light turbulence, but I'd say that's pretty comfortable. Oh, I can't enjoy the Ortho 4 XP, but yeah, there is a bit of terrain there. We need to do more streams during the day, guys. I'm always doing it in the evening where you can't enjoy the scenery. Rick S, when you're landing, in approximately 10 minutes. Cool. So I think, oh yeah, Tartan, guys, is a flyover waypoint, so it won't actually start the turn until we get directly overhead Tartan. It wouldn't usually depict the magenta line like that though. So you'll see it's going to do this and then overshoot the turn, but it wouldn't depict it like that. If you see here on the chart, see how it's this circle? This is a flyover waypoint, so it won't cut the corner until it goes directly over the top. So what I'm actually going to do is cheat slightly. Just going to bring CI001 to the top. Execute. There we go. So that's now put us slightly below profile. So the aircraft should now go to 1,000 feet per minute. We should get FMC speed here. There we go. And it's just going to maintain 1,000 feet per minute until it's back on profile. And now what I'm going to do is set an altitude of 4,000 feet. Just a little bit aggressive adding thrust there. It shouldn't add that much thrust that quickly, so it should be a lot smoother there. So 4,000 feet, that is set, and now I can set the QNH in Edinburgh, which is 1018. Oh look, we're now 1,000 feet high on profile. That's a big change. I wasn't anticipating that. So execute. So wow, I don't want to stay in VNAV because it's going to die for that profile. So I'm just going to go level change 250. Otherwise VNAV will chase the profile and the speed will accelerate. And we can now do the post-cruise checks as we pass 10,000 feet. So fuel 4 pumps, lights are on, pop the logo on as it's dark, pressurization is set, seat belts are on, recall, and then we'll do a PA to the cabin crew advising that we have approximately 10 minutes to landing. So what are we going to do about this then? 1700 feet high, 250 knots. You could start slowing it down, do 220. Oh, I've lost my CI point. That's a bloody shame. What was it? 151. That's probably why it's showing me high. I accidentally deleted the CI point. LNAV, there we go. So still showing me there. So yeah, let's get some speed brake out. We'd probably start reducing to 220 knots as well very soon. Excellent, all looking good. So what we'll do, we'll wait until we're about 5 miles from CI001. If it's still showing us quite a harm profile, we'll bring the speed back to around 220. You don't want to be doing more than really on base leg, maximum 200, and ideally around 180 knots on base leg. Matt Robinson, have you ever tried flying in a sim after a few beers? I don't think I have. Don't think so. Right, into the Gulf. Engine anti-ice can come on. Actually, what is the temperature? Yeah, definitely 2 degrees. So you'd get a little bit of light icing perhaps. Engine anti-ice is on. Non-standard, but I actually like to put the dome light on in the sim so you have a better look of what you can see, and in reality you wouldn't see anything there. Perfect. So profile's coming back nicely. I want to start slowing down 220 knots so I couldn't get a chance really to test VNAV. That's because I got myself high on profile. Excellent. We'll just keep the speed brake out as well, just to help it slow down and go down at the same time. Excellent. Ah, nice. Out the clouds. Oh, lovely. Nice day in Edinburgh. Engine anti-ice can come off. No visible moisture. Excellent. So 220 knots, still a little bit high. So we're going to go flap 1, keep the speed brake out. Just want to keep it descending. Imagine we've been cleared down to 3,000 feet as well. Kind of self-vectoring myself in there. And that's helping out there. So 220 knots flap 1, or if you need it flap 5 and speed brake is a really nice configuration to get down quickly. That's really helping with the profile. So keep it at 220 flap 1 for now. And then when we start turning base, I'm going to start reducing the speed to the flap 1 speed. And keep the speed brake out all the way. Excellent. Now we're turning onto base. I'm self-vectoring ourselves onto base. Now I'm going to reduce the speed to our speed of about 180. Going to go flap 5, and now I'm going to stow the speed brake. Profile's looking much better. Excellent. So level change is behaving nicely. Maybe it wouldn't be start descending that much. I'm just going to go to VS. So don't be afraid whenever you're flying in the mod or PMDG or anything on flight sim. Play with the MCP. You don't just leave it in one thing. You know, we're often changing modes to ensure the aircraft's doing what we want there. I can see on the ILS that we're slightly low on the glide path now, so VS is a good pitch mode to use, and we can now reduce it to the flat 5 speed. Excellent. So we do the approach checks next. So we've got the ILS tuned, range rings are in for the correct runway, idents for the ILS, India Tango Hotel. Get the ILS up here as well. Ooh. India Tango Hotel, and I've got India Victor Golf 1089. That's the incorrect ident. That would be a problem. You'd probably have the wrong ILS tune, but I'm quite confident that is the correct ILS. Maybe they've not updated the nav database there. But yeah, IVG. Oh, it's now changed to IVG. There we go. So we're all looking good. So yeah, I was a little bit conservative with the descent planning there. The thrusters come up, but it's always better to be lower than higher, trying to avoid a high energy approach there. Edinburgh ground is on frequency, are they? Oh dear. Surely they should tell me or give me a nudge, I hope. Oh no, they are. Crikey. Would they give me? Would ground give me my landing clearance? Oh, I have no idea. Right, better arm approach anyway. How's LNAV doing? Cut the corners slightly. I'm going to just put myself on a heading here. Oh, it doesn't matter, I've got localizer capture. Runway heading 061 is set. And Edinburgh ground 121.75. Now, will ground give me a landing clearance, or do I just tune him up after landing? I have absolutely no idea. I'll see on the chat what you guys say. Excellent. Alberto Delgadillo coming in with a $5 tip of donation. I don't flight sim nor I fly planes, but I support the house. Well, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate the tip of donation there. Right, glide slope capture. Missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. That is set. Cabin crew seats for landing. Hologram, no clearance from ground. Thank you very much for the information. No, ground won't give you clearance after landing. Alright, cool. Well, he can text me on to stand. So this Edinburgh scenery, once we get down there, is from UK 2000. It's quite a basic scenery, but at least it's got the kind of correct taxiway guidance and stands. I actually have to say the UK 2000 scenery for X-Plane isn't as good as some of the versions on FSX and Prepared, but hopefully they will improve in time. Perfect. So looking good. Wind's coming in from the north, 17 knots. That should die down a little bit as we get closer. We've got the Edinburgh ground frequency on standby. Looking at the live weather in Edinburgh at 0205 knots, so a slight crosswind from the left, 6 degrees. QNH is still at 1018. I'll wait till about 4 miles to configure here. Now I did a test flight into Edinburgh yesterday just for the mod, and it looks like it's doing the same. It's putting me right of the runway centre line. Now, I found that if you follow it all the way down, you're going to land on the right hand side of the runway on the grass. So we'll just keep an eye on it as we get closer. I might just turn off the flight director. Again, I don't know if that's an issue with UK 2000 or X-Plane or the mod. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem to be an issue anywhere else. Captain Kringle's coming in with 20 Norwegian kroner as well. Thank you very much for tip and donation. First time donating. Good luck on the landing. I always need luck in my live stream landings because they're really 50-50. Cool, it's going to 4 miles. All looking good. Flat 5 speed. Auto brakes set. Looking nice. Go all the way to 4. Nice low drag approach. Saving fuel for flight deck to sim airlines.
20, 10.
Excellent. Cool, so there's 4 miles. Let's go. Gear down, flap 15, match speed, landing checklist to flaps. Start switches are continuous. Recall is checked. Speed brake, armed green light. Landing gear, down 3 green. Auto brake is set to 3. Holding on the landing flap. And nice, nice doing a low drag approach, set it around 1,000 feet. So there we go. Flap 30. VRF plus 5. Landing wind is less than 10 knots. So landing flaps, we've got 30 required here, 30 selected, green light, lights are on, checklist complete, we are cleared to land. You can see, look, it's, I don't know, if I was flying like this in reality looking there, I'd be like, no, that doesn't look right. It's putting me to the right of the centre line, but it says we're perfectly on profile. So what I'm going to do, disconnect, and I'm actually going to probably can the flight directors in a second, and we'll see. So autopilot auto throttle disconnected, around 57-60% is a good reference N1 for this weight. Maintain that speed all the way to the threshold until we're over 50 feet. I'm correcting on the centre line. You can see the localizers telling me to fly right. That is utter bull, my friend. Top of the amber bar on the PFD here, fully stabilised, so PM would tell me 500 continue. Watching the rate of descent there, getting a little bit low. That was a little bit of a dirty dive. Flight director and localized telling me to fly right. I'd say we're pretty much on the centre line.
200.
Looking good, speed's good.
Minimum.
Continue. Over the threshold around 50 feet. Keep it coming down.
100.
2 reds, 2 lights all the way.
50. 40. 30.
Check.
1.
Close.
Yeah.
Just hold that attitude. Oh, keep those wings level. Ah, not bad. Speed brakes up. Reverses. That's another greaser in the back, baby. What's with these runway textures, though? Jesus. So speed brakes up. Reverses. 100 knots. 80 knots. Auto brake now is perfect in the mod, guys. Works really nicely. 60 knots. Go to idle reverse. disengage the auto brake, and then keep the reversers out all the way until taxi speed. Excellent.
Approaching 1, 2.
I've got an infamous bugle in the background. Excellent. So we can vacate here at Charlie at the right. Speed brakes up, and then we can retract the flaps on schedule. Excellent. And I'll bring up ground, which was 1 to 1.75. Good. Oh, is this? Oh, I've got my reverser still selected. What a nonce! it's quite difficult to do that in real life. Edinburgh ground. Good evening. Broadsword 01 vacated runway 06 Charlie.
Bluetooth 01, welcome to Edinburgh. Edinburgh ground level. Taxi stand 15 via Lima and Golf.
Stand 15 via Lima and Golf, Broadsword 01, thanks. Okay, so that is going to be a left here onto Lima. I'll get the chart out so I can show you where we are. There we go. And stand 15 is about there. Excellent. We can now start cleaning up. Put the flaps up already. Auto brakes are off. This would be the first officer's job. Obviously in a sim you have to do this all yourself. Flight director's off. This round up to the next 100 feet. So you know you haven't got your clearance for the next sector. That's set to 100 knots.
Approaching.
That
1,
can go off.
2.
Strobes to steady and probes off as well. And you can start the APU straight away because we're quite close to our final stand. Excellent. So I don't have a... Oh, we're going again, love. We're done for the day. Excellent. Dimitri's sneaky voice crack. Yeah, I know. I'm like a teenager. Who would believe I'm an airline captain with this squeaky voice?
04, Tango Whiskey.
Excellent.
Only point Delta 1, runway 24, via Foxtrot and Alpha.
So I don't know if I've got a better stand to show you the parking stands. I should not be doing this whilst taxiing. Oh, goodness me. Parking stands, there we go. There we go. So stand 15 is just here in the corner now. Let's hope it's depicted. There's 16. I don't think 15's here. I think this is old scenery because it's construction work. So this whole area here isn't modelled in the mod. So I'm just going to tell him we're going to go on 16. You can see 16 and then it just finishes. It's all standing there. I'll let him know. Oh, there's an aircraft that's just spawned onto that. So we're going to go onto this stand instead. Stand 19. 19. Let's go for that one. Edinburgh ground, Broadsword 01. Our scenery doesn't have stand 15, so we're just going to take stand 19. Thanks for your help. Oh, bye-bye. Good night. It's probably gone already.
001, stand 20 is approved.
Oh, 19. Copy, Broadsword 01. Good night. Oh. Oh, she's training me already. Excellent, there's the stop bar. Broadsword 01, that's all copied. I actually went on to stand 19. Thanks for your help tonight. Good night. Right, anyway, APU's on the bus, and this could go to steady.
No problem, stand 19.
Perfect, engines could go dead, and we'll do the transit shutdown checklist. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Edinburgh. Local time is 9:36. 20 minutes behind our scheduled landing time due to delay in Stansted ATC, but they're all good there. Transit then, isolation valve to open. Pretty much all you got to do is then move the anti-collision light to off as well. And we can log off VATSIM 2. Fantastic. No issues on VATSIM today with immature individuals, thank goodness. Right, anti-collision light off. That's it. So, just before we jump into the replay, I just like to always read the comments there. Nice boss, beautiful landing. Yeah, it was alright. Gravel runway. Yeah, it did look a bit dodgy. That was the UK 2000 scenery. That late pull up. Yeah, that's how we do it in reality. Check around 20 to 30 feet, depending on your rate of descent over the threshold. Sodry, when I'm on an ILS approach, the autopilot will give me the runway but not descending. What can be the problem? Well, make sure you got the correct approach tuned and the flight directors are giving you what you need. Spagos, in real life, does your FO call that a butter? No, I don't think I've ever heard of that terminology used in reality. It's pretty much exclusive to the sim community there. Nice landing, Captain. Thank you very much as well. Strobes off, they should be. Now, someone told me in the YouTube community post, I need to comment back, that if you actually turn all the lights back on for the replay, you actually have all the lights correctly displayed at the correct point in which you turn them on. So we'll do that. And that should hopefully, obviously unrealistic here, but for the replay, make it look pretty good. Right. Oh, you could do one, love. We're done for the day. Right, flight, toggle replay mode, and we've got the funky replay music as well. So, always like to do the threshold view first, and hopefully we'll get some approach lights, lights off the aircraft coming in as we come into land here. It's around 600 feet. Let's bring it a little bit closer in.
400. 300.
Excellent. We always like to rate the greasiness of the landing. I think that's the correct terminology. Excellent. Nice. Yeah, we do get all the nice lights, and there's still just enough light, hopefully, to see how the landing is. Fantastic. Oh, it was a good landing, I'll have to admit. I don't often speak up myself. A little bit off the centre line though. I could have done better. Not bad, not bad. I think there's a tower view as well, but probably not the clearest this evening. There we go. You'd have to squint quite well to see that. Cinema Veretti off will stop your braking stutters. Thank you very much for that tip. Excellent, so there we go. Not the clearest of landings you can see, but a good landing nonetheless. I'll take that one to the back. So guys, you know how I always like to sign out on the replay view, so I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that joined as a member. There's a huge amount of new members that joined the channel this evening. That's really supportive of to me, and I really appreciate all the stuff you do. Tip and donation wise, because it's definitely not required to enjoy my content. All my content will always be free of charge for the community there. So thank you very much for everyone that joined us, member, tipped and donated. Plan is, if I get a chance, I might stream on Sunday into Rome Fiumicino, because there is a VATSIM event. I cannot promise anything at this moment because we might be busy, and after that's done, if we do get a chance, we'll be jumping into the 200 from FlyJSim next week for a bit of old-fashioned VOR navigation and some flights in that, so we'll have some fun doing that. But yeah, we'll enjoy the next 4 weeks, got plenty of time for streaming, and catch up with you guys before I get busy again for the summer schedule. Anyway, I'll wish you all a pleasant evening and weekend. For those in the UK, enjoy your bank holiday weekend and the extra time off, and I'll see you all again for a stream in the very near future. Good evening for now.